Okay, so this is a quick video for Stickler Hudson, who keeps nagging me to do a video on packing a bike for adventure. I don't know why he keeps nagging me, because I'm probably the worst packer there is at bikes, because I always forget something, and it always takes me a few days or a week on the road to actually figure out where things belong. But I just thought I'd use my Royal Enfield Himalayan just to go through some really basics of what I do. I mean, first and foremost, I've got hard luggage on this. Obviously, the same theories apply to soft luggage. Benefits of soft luggage are obviously, if you're riding off-road, then you're less likely to do any damage to your legs if you fall. Equally with hard luggage, it's very easy to, if you're having to dab your leg or dab your foot, it's easy for you, the back of your leg, to get whacked by your own pannier and break a leg or break an ankle. So that's why soft panniers are generally favoured for off-road riding, just because they're safer. They're less likely to cause you damage. I actually prefer hard panniers, certainly for on-road riding. I just think they add more practicality and ease of use. And these are the stock aluminium panniers. I think they're about 31 litres each side, so not huge. Now, my thinking with the panniers is you want the panniers within the width of the handlebars, which generally forces you down the path of having a smaller pannier in the size range that the pannier manufacturers offer. You know, to me, there's nothing worse than having the pannier stuck so far out wide that they ruin your option to filter, or at least widen the width of your bike. I think that's the wrong way of doing it. So when I see people with 45 litre panniers stuck outside, I think that's kind of a, if it suits them, great, but I don't think it's necessarily the right way. But each to their own. With the panniers, I think the first and foremost is try and keep the weight low. So if you have got tools or liquids, anything dense and heavy, make sure that they're at the bottom of the pannier. Obviously, the idea when packing a bike is to keep the weight as low down as possible. If you've got the weight stacked high, it's going to create a lot of topple effect, which you don't want. Whether you're just getting off the bike in a car park, it's very easy for it to topple over if all the weight is stacked high. So stacking a pannier, weight down low, lighter stuff at the top. Equally, don't see your panniers as something that you have to fill. I think that's the theory. I've got panniers, what am I going to put in them to fill them? To me, the best way of setting off is with a pannier at least 2/3 or a third empty, 2/3 full. That way you've got room to move things around, to put a jumper in there if it suddenly starts raining, or to grab something out, or to buy things along the way, food be it, and put them in there. So I think going with a full pannier is the wrong thing. Easy done because we all overpack before a trip. But I think trying to leave some space in there is essential. In terms of what to take, on a trip, say you're going away for a weekend or a week, to me there's not that much difference in what you're going to take. You're going to take maybe, for me, I'd take 3 t-shirts, 3 pairs of pants, a pair of trousers, a jumper, and whether I was going for 3 days or a week, that'd be long enough. I'm generally camping. I'm not staying in a hotel so much, so I can keep my pants on for an extra day or two, and therefore stretch 3 pairs of pants out to a week. People might screw their nose up at that, but I think once you start travelling and going from campsite to campsite and day to day on the bike, I think you become less fussy about general day-to-day hygiene a little bit. Maybe that's just me. But I certainly wouldn't be thinking, I'm going away for 7 days, therefore I need 7 pairs of socks, 7 pants, 7 t-shirts. Some people do that. I know a guy who's got a good system. He'll roll a t-shirt around a pair of pants, around a pair of socks. So he's almost got like a daily bundle of fresh, clean clothes, and he'll stack his pannier with that. I think the crucial thing with any luggage system is to try and devise an area zoning. So in this side you might have your clothes, you might have your clean clothes in this one. And the other side you might have your kitchen, so that might include your cooking equipment or food or things along the way. So almost essentially each pannier becomes a room of your house. So bedroom, kitchen, living room, maybe here is your tank bag. So that therefore divides things into areas that makes it easier to find things. Equally, things like raincoats, rain protection, that needs to be at the top. Anything that you might need day to day to grab to hand needs to be at the top. Anything you don't think you're going to need, obviously down at the bottom. Tools, they're heavy and you're hopefully not going to use them, so keep them down low. Rain jackets, nice and light, put them to the top. Common sense, really. For me, I'm not a big fan of the top box, so I never use the top box. I just think they're too cumbersome and they're also too restrictive as to what you can get in them. I much prefer a dry bag. This is a Lomo one, this is a 60 litre, which to me is too big. I always prefer a 40 litre, but I kind of bought this in haste because I couldn't get hold of a 40 litre, so I ended up with a 60. It's a little bit too big. You know, I think it just gives you too much plumpness on the back. So I generally prefer the 40 litre, and in this I would have a tent, a sleeping bag, and my roll mat. So this would be my sleeping quarters, I guess you would call it, and that would stay strapped to the bike all day long. At the end of the day, take this off, and, you know, everything's in there. I need to set up camp, and that again divides it all out. It's all in there. You know, you maybe could even put your stove in there if you were carrying a stove, or, you know, I don't know, things like that, just to again isolate everything in that area. Your torch is going to be in there, for example. Me personally, I like having a tank bag. Not everyone has one, but I prefer this just because, you know, this is where I put maybe my camera in here, and my passport in here, and my documents in here, and maybe my torch in here, and my toothbrush. I like a tank bag that's got side pockets, because then in the side pocket I can put my toothbrush and toothpaste. In this one I can put chargers and cables and things like that. So again, it's separating everything out to make it so I've got a system as to know, so I know where to find things, because everything needs to be at hand. You know, if you bundle everything in together and bits and pieces in that one and bits and pieces in this one, you kind of soon lose track. So again, I guess my entertainment suite is my tank bag, camera, video camera with GoPro, you know, and then my toiletries and things like that. On the Himalayan, it's quite useful. I think the front guards are very good, and that's why I like the Himalayan. In that the sense that I can get a dry bag. These are a 13 litre or 14 litre cinch bag by Outrider, which I had from before. Now these were designed to sit on the top of the panniers, which is a common thing to get extra space. Certainly if you're travelling up, is to get an extra bag and put it on the top of the pannier, which is great, adds capacity. But what it also does is add bulk to the back of the bike, and also weight to the back of the bike, and also puts the weight higher up. So you end up with a very much of a boat effect with your pannier system, and I don't think that's great. So what I've loved about the Himalayan is that I can take those bags that I'd normally have there and put them on the front, just strap them to these bars, and maybe I'll put all my clothes in that one, my clean clothes in that one, dirty clothes in this one. And what that does is not only leave more space in this and let me have room for food and tins and things like that, and also it brings a weight over the front as well, because if you got all the weight at the back, it can make the front end ride really light, and then you lose some handling characteristics. And so by keeping a bit of weight over the front, it just keeps the bike a bit more balanced, and I think that's, you know, that's something to think about. It's not easy on a lot of bikes because you don't have this option, but I think, you know, it's just trying to be aware that the more you put on the back, the more it's going to sort of destabilise the handling of the bike or make it less competent as it previously was. So that's really it. I think cutting down on the things you take is crucial. Try not to overpack. We all overpack. It's just common. It's a common thing amongst anyone who travels on a bike. But I think you use every trip to refine your packing list. There'll be things that you thought maybe I should have took, whether it be a sleeping bag fleece liner or extra jumper or something like that. Maybe, you know, you think next time I'm going to take those. All the times you might come back with 3 clean t-shirts and things you've never worn. A pair of shoes, for example, you've never worn. You think, well, next time I'm not going to take that. In terms of tools and basics, I think people ask about tools. What tools do I take, or what spares? I think really you only take the things that you know how to use. There's no point taking a bag full of tools if you don't know how to use them or know what to do. I think puncture repair is the most crucial. Obviously you want to be taking things to repair a tube tyre or a tubeless, depending on what you have, and obviously checking you've got the right tools and the right fitments for those repairs. You know, the Tiger 800, for example, you need a spindle key, and that doesn't come in the toolkit, and if you're not near a shop when you break down, whether you've got a puncture repair kit or not, you're kind of screwed. So things like that, try and plan, see what's in your toolkit, see what's not, try and fill the gaps, but try and ultimately to, you know, breakdown cover is far better than taking every spare part you can. If you're going around the world, obviously that's a bit different. I would take levers, tubes, plugs, spare oil. What else? You know, a bit of maybe some sealant, maybe some plastic metal, some tie wraps, some tape, and you know, and after that, you just don't know what might go wrong, and if it does go wrong, you just don't know how you're going to fix it, but you'll find a way. I guess last but not least, footwear. People always mock me for wearing Crocs, but the beauty of the Croc is that it's a waterproof shoe, which is not only stylish, but also comfortable for walking at night. And generally I don't go to high class restaurants on an evening. Normally the places I go are Croc friendly. But I just love a shoe that I can put like the luggage strap through that, and they can ride outside of the bike all day long. And it means I ain't got a pair of shoes to put in my panniers. So people ridicule the Croc, but the Croc is probably the best footwear invention for motorcycle adventure travel. Which people are going to think that's a dickhead thing to say. And it's obviously not fashionable. I know the holes are there to let your dignity out, etc. But Crocs, if you want to save space for travelling, all the way forward. So that's it really. There is no magic secret to packing. Just try and refine it and try and take as little as possible. If you have a big pack list down there on this carpet, try and cut that in half. Think, what do I need? What don't I need? If I wasn't camping, I would travel like that. That's how I would travel. I'd have big panniers, clothes, a bit of tools and things. I would have no dry bag. I mean, look how lightweight you can travel if you were staying in hotels or hostels and things. Tank bag, 2 panniers, maybe these, maybe not, and away you go. So yeah, try not to overthink it. Try not to overstress it. And what you've forgot, you can generally buy on the road. Over and out.